Well, hello and welcome to Auditing, Counting 260. This is where we will meet. If you can go log in to d2l.oakton.edu and then you'll put in your username and password. The username and password is the same username and password that you use to sign on at any Oakton computer. You should have this. If you don't have it, you need to contact the Oakton help desk with your Oakton ID number. Once you log in, you should be able to get into the class, and this is what the class is going to look like. I would like you, once you are in the class, to click on Content, and then you should click here, which will open up the online syllabus. Okay, Summer 2014 Online. My name is Prashant Raval, and I will be your instructor. Here is my phone number for you and my office hours. The textbook is what I want to first start with. Principles of Auditing and Assurance Services, Whittington Penny 19th edition. It says it is a custom edition. The reason why you cannot simply go to Amazon and pick up any Whittington Penny old edition at a lower rate is because in this textbook, in the custom edition publication, which is at a much lower rate than what you may find the 19th edition outside, it also has cases, audit cases in there which you may not find in a regular textbook. So you will get this textbook from the Oakton bookstore. Now, in addition to that, you have the class handout packet. Okay, the class handout packet you can get also at the Oakton bookstore. It is a workbook that we will be using when we follow the online lectures, which I will go over in a few minutes. Okay, so this is essentially what you need to buy the first week itself. The reason why you want to buy it in the first 2 or 3 days is because this is an 8-week course. As you know, the class moves at a faster pace. In this class, we will have 3 exams. There are no prerequisites, but a recommended prerequisite is Accounting 242. 3 exams worth 100 points each, homework quizzes, and other assignments. These other assignments are the cases that we will talk about in a few minutes. Okay, exams, 3 exams, and the exams will be given in the testing center during the weeks listed in the syllabus. So first, let's begin by talking about the exams. Okay, now the first exam, here is the outline for the syllabus. The first exam will cover chapters 1, 2, 5, 6, and 7. The second exam will cover chapters 10 through 13. And the third exam will cover chapters 14 through 17 and chapter 3. Chapter 3 is the last chapter because it talks about professional ethics. I am of the view that you cannot really appreciate the role of ethics in auditing unless you have a good understanding of what is at stake. It is because of that that this is a chapter that I go over last in this class. Now, per week, there are 2 chapters. Okay, the reason for that is it's an 8-week course in which I need to finish up everything that you need to know about auditing. Okay, so there are 2 chapters per week, and once you finish those chapters, you will have to take the online quizzes, which is 125 points, and I'll go over that. So the first week you have chapters 1, 2, and 5. I say 2 chapters. Why am I giving you 3? Because these are 2 small chapters which you can essentially look at as one. The first chapter is an introduction to auditing, the public accountant, and the second chapter talks about the professional standards in the field of auditing. And then you have where we essentially start with Audit, Evidence, and Documentation, Chapter 5. You have homework questions that we will do after we have discussed the chapter. Now, when we are going over this, so these homework problems are for yourself. Okay, I also provide you solutions for these problems. You don't need to submit these problems for grading. So how do I know whether you are learning the material that you are supposed to be learning? I would know that once you take the online quizzes over here. So you can see section 1. After you finish chapters 1 and 2, this is the quiz for chapters 1 and 2 combined as one quiz. This is the quiz for chapter 5 and so on. Every week you can expect 2 quizzes. Why do I have this syllabus quiz? This is due by Thursday. The reason for that is that I need you to get up to speed as soon as possible with all the class rules and regulations. So you will take the syllabus quiz. If you have gone through this lecture completely, this presentation completely, you will get a full grade here. There is no reason why you should not get a full grade here. So let me go back to the syllabus. So every week 2 chapters. 1 chapter you should start during the early part of the week, take the quiz, and the 2nd chapter you should do during the later part of the week. Our weeks start on Monday night and they end next Monday. So June 9th, 11:59 p.m. through June 12th, 11:59 p.m. is our first week. My fault, through June 16th. The syllabus quiz is the only quiz that will end early on Thursday. Okay, June 9th through 16th. All of these, and this is very important, all these quizzes will open up tomorrow if you want to get started. This is an 8-week course. So if you want to build your own pace, which goes at a faster pace than the class, that is up to you. I do not recommend that because I believe that information has to come step by step. But while you can work at your own pace, the deadlines, as you can see, are pretty much set from day 1. And the reason for that is you really cannot understand chapter 6 until you have finished chapter 5 and so on. The material builds up over here. Auditing is a test of your judgment, okay? And you can build sound judgment by following proper processes for this chapter, which I will give you a suggested pattern to go through this chapters. So coming back to this, once you finish the chapters, you take the quiz, essentially that chapter is over. However, it is not as simple as that. There is a recommended pattern that I would like you to follow. So if you go back to the class, okay, and if you click on content, section 1, class lectures, the first thing you would want to do is click here and start with the lectures. You should have purchased your workbook. You should have your workbook in front of you as I go over these lectures, okay, chapters 1 and 2 and then chapter 5. So once you have gone through this workbook, okay, chapters, excuse me, here's the pattern. Now, go through, let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay. Go through the workbook lecture. This is what I'm referring to. Have your workbook in front of you, open up chapter 1, go through this lecture. Okay? Do the multiple choice at the end of each chapter. At the end of each chapter, I have provided you suggested multiple choice questions. Go over those. Once you go over those questions, the answers to those questions are given right here. So verify the answers. Again, this is just for practice. Why am I stressing so much on multiple choice is something I will explain later. But right now, let me focus on the pattern. Then read the chapter in your textbook. Why am I not asking you to read the chapter before I go to the workbook? Because my intent behind going through the workbook lectures is to kind of simplify the material for you, okay? So that when you go and read the chapters later on, it makes more sense. It is worth your time. Then you do the homework at the back of the chapters. When I say do the homework, what is the homework? Right here. This is the homework I'm talking about. Do these problems. Now, have I given you the problems? Yes, I have. The homework solutions? Yes, right here. These solutions are these problems. Again, you do not submit this for grading. You simply need to do these problems, okay? And look for the solutions. It is after this much that if it is after all this that you should then take the quiz, okay? There is a lot of reading in this class because this is a test of your judgment. It requires you to choose between alternative situations. In the CPA exam, 70% right now is multiple choice, which is going to change soon to 80% between multiple choice and other objective format questions. If you know the multiple choice questions, essentially you would be prepared for the CPA. A friend of mine, when I was studying for the CPA exam myself, he did all the questions in the Wiley workbook problems 3 times and sat for the CPA and passed the exam. You may ask, did he not do any essay questions? No, because he had understood the material, and his position was, and many of these CPA prep courses will tell you the same thing, if you have understood the material, you have done the multiple choice, at this level, you will know how to explain yourself and you will know how to communicate the concepts, so you're going to do well on the essay questions. So in this class, there is a lot of stress on multiple choice questions. Almost all of this class, a lot of stress on multiple choice questions. Now, some of you who were in the lower level classes with me, remember if you're in my 153 or 154 class, I did not believe in a lot of multiple choice questions at that time. This class is a different situation. Okay, we are preparing ourselves for the CPA course. We need to understand that this class is a test of your judgment. So multiple choice is very important. And so the quizzes are going to be multiple choice quizzes. Okay, so once you have followed all these 5 steps, then you can take the quiz. Now let me warn you, sometimes students read the chapters 2 times or even 3 times. Those who got an A, I would go and ask them, what helped? Okay, what worked for you? And they have said that they ended up reading 2 or 3 times. So if that's what it requires, you're not the only one. There are many. Similarly, with multiple choice questions, it also depends on your experience. Okay, if you have a lot of experience taking multiple choice, you will right away start doing well. If you don't, at least during the initial first 1 or 2 chapters, you may feel like you're struggling a little bit. You have to work hard to get the score that you want to get. But please understand that this is a requirement for this class. Okay, so be patient with yourself. Be ready to apply yourself, because these are all concepts, a test of your understanding that is really required. Your judgment is at stake. How well are you going to do in auditing is all about how good a judgment do you develop about alternative situations, okay, in financial auditing. Now, how many attempts do I give you? Except for the syllabus, I give you 2 attempts, okay? Which attempt will I pick the better of the 2 attempts? Why do I give you 2 attempts? Of course, to practice is one thing, but I also give you multiple choice questions in the workbook for practice. The reason why I give you 2 attempts is because let's say for some reason you are taking the quiz and all of a sudden the electricity went away, or something happened where your quiz was marked as being taken. There is no way for me to know if there was a genuine reason or this is not a genuine reason. So I give you 2 attempts. Okay, out of the 2 attempts, if you blew up on the first attempt, there's always a second attempt. But usually students take advantage of both the attempts. It's more exposure and more practice for multiple choice questions. Now, so after every chapter, you will take the quiz. This is the deadlines for the quiz. You will see if you go here, if you go to the home page, you will also see all these upcoming events right here for you. And as I told you, all the quizzes open up tomorrow on June 9th, okay? But they end at a certain date. The ending is important. The beginning is because it's a summer course. You can build your own schedule. You can work at your own pace. My recommendation is not more than 2 chapters a week, but if you want to do more, because you have the last week, you have a wedding to attend, or you have something to go, or somewhere during the midst of the week, you have something going on. I'm trying to be flexible. I'm trying to work with you. Okay, that's why I'm giving this to you. Now, as I told you, the first section is 1 and 2, 5, 6, 7. Okay, then you have this case. What is this case all about? These are end-run cases. So I would go back to content. Okay, I would go to syllabus and class information. I would review this. Then I would go to instructions for case 1. Then I would go to instructions for case 2. Then I would go to instruction, each case 1, section 1, case 2, section 2, case 3, section 3. So once in this instructions, it clearly explains to you that you are not necessarily required to write these questions and submit. How do I know you have understood the material and you have answered the questions that are being asked for? Simply by going here and taking the quiz, I will know how much work you have done. And look, if you have done the work, you're most probably going to get a full grade on these cases. Okay, it's going to be a great booster. And then you have your first exam. The first exam is due by June 30. The second exam is due by July 14th. And the third exam is due by July 31st. You can make up your own schedule. You can go to the testing center. You can take it whenever you want. So let me give you some information about the testing center, and then I'll talk about the practice exam. Where do I find this? If I go here, back to the content, okay, and if I go to syllabus and class information, FAQs for exam, when I click here, this should open up. When will the exams be available in the testing center? Here are the dates. Okay. Where can I take the exam? You can take the exam either at Des Plaines Testing Center in room 2409 or at Skokie Testing Center in room A135. Now you may say, but I'm not, I live 45-50 miles away. Then you may have to contact Robin Nash at Distant Learning Center, rnash@oakton.edu, and take it from there. She will most probably say identify a testing center close by your place, and we will then send the instructions for the exams over there. Okay, so but if you are living in the vicinity of 30 miles, you will be going over here. How many hours should I keep aside for the exam? Although it will not take you so long, I give you 2 hours and 50 minutes. Should I call the testing center ahead of time to inquire about their hours? Yes, you should. The number for Des Plaines is right here, and the number for Skokie is right here. Hours for the testing center can also be looked up on this website. Okay, summer special hours, make sure you look it up. It will be your responsibility to look up and take the test during the available hours. Should I take an ID card with me? Yes, they will ask for one. Okay, so this exam you will take in the testing center. It has a password that you don't know about that they will provide. They will log you in, and then you'll take the exam. So what is this practice exam? Does it count for a grade? No, it does not. the practice exam exactly resembles the exam for that particular section. So now this is what students usually should do. They should finish up all the work and then they should try the practice exam. It is a good exposure for you before the exam. The common mistake that students make is when they take the practice exam, they put the workbook or the textbook in front of them, they spend 2 or 3 hours, they look up each and every answer, and then they try to take the exam. They get probably 90, 95, and then they go here, the grades is in 78, 82, 85, and then they wonder what happened. Well, you know, you need to take this as if you are taking this particular exam. Exam is not going to be rocket science. I never test my students on what they do not know. I test them on what they do know. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, the exam is going to be will be all multiple choice questions. Now, all the 3 exams will have 55 questions. There will be 5 bonus questions. Okay? Out of these 55 questions, 5 bonus questions. What do I mean by that? Let's say out of 55, you get 45 right. So your grade is going to be 45 out of 50, which is 90%, not 45 out of 55. No. 45 out of 50, yes. Okay, so essentially you can get 10 wrong and you can still get an A. Students usually get full grades in here by the time they take the second exam. Now, does that mean that if you get 110 out of 100, your grade will be 110? I'm sorry, no. The 5 questions there is no extra credit here. The 5 questions, why do I give it? You know, just like beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, ambiguity is also in the eyes of the beholder. So while I work very hard to pick the best questions which are unambiguous, sometimes students feel like the way the question was worded, if only, you know, I would have known that this is what the author of the question meant, I may have answered it differently. So those 5 questions are meant to take out that ambiguity factor and hopefully get you the grade that you deserve as per your knowledge. Okay, but in the event if it helps you, good, but again, there are no extra credits here. That's pretty much it for the class. You know, I try to run a simple format. I hope that you will stay focused and do well, build your own schedule, again, do quizzes. Okay, now the contact information. How do you get in touch with me? I will only respond to your questions if you send me on D2L. The regular email, I get 50 to 100 emails a day. My students are very important. They are the reason why I am here, and you are my first priority. I like to keep track of all the emails for my students and make sure I attend to each and every email. I will be responsible for answering those emails only if you click here, go to email, okay, and you compose an email to me. Okay, this is the way you will send me an email. We will only communicate through D2L. That is the ideal way of communicating with your instructor. Okay, I will respond to your questions within 24 hours. Okay, you may expect there is nothing urgent here. Everything has been given to you. Your grades will be put over here. Okay, so you can keep track of how well you're doing. Hopefully this is all F because it's 0. Soon it'll start filling up. And I know that if you apply yourself, there is no reason why you should not get an A in this class. But please also understand, this is an 8-week course. You have taken this responsibility upon yourself. So if you find the pace to be too fast, you also need to understand that we offer this in 16 weeks during the fall. You have that option, but this is the option you have chosen. So from my end, I have done my best to make it as easy for you as possible. I'm here for you, okay? But the studying will have to be done by you. Now, as I go back here and I go to content, okay, and I'm going to go over these links. Before the exam, what is a study guide? A study guide simply means, auditing is a test of your judgment. So everything in the chapters you can basically know may be included. But this is more like a checklist. Have I understood this concept? Have I understood this concept? Have I had an exposure to this? That's what this is. So I would not open this up right now. I would much rather at the end, after I'm done, before I take the practice exam, I would just go over this. All of this is in the workbook, okay? And the workbook is a very good tool to help you, okay? Make sure you buy it. Please don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Buy the workbook and follow the lectures. It will be worth your money, okay? It's only $10 or $12. It's worth every penny. I'm very confident. I worked very hard on this, and I hope you will benefit out of that. So that's your study guides, okay? The case instructions I talked to you about, the 3 cases, 20 points each, you will see on the syllabus right here, okay? Here are the cases, up to 60 points. These are the homework quizzes, all right? And then statement on auditing standards, SASs, right here. This is a website. As we go over the chapters, if you want to do further research on the cases, AU stands for Audit Opinions. You can see after the Great Depression, when the Statement of Auditing Standards usually started, it started from SAS number 1, and it goes on, right, the pronouncements by the auditors up to 121, the latest one. Okay, in between, after Enron, you had 98, 99, fraud, very important. Of course, you're not going to be expected to memorize all these audit objectives and cases, but this is a place that you know where you can do more research on the cases if you need to. Essentially, then you have the Sarbanes-Oxley Act passed by the Congress. I have put it here for you. A good internal control white paper if you have more time. These things are additional materials for you if you're interested. But then what I have given you below that is chapters 1, 2, and 3. Okay? Chapter 1. What is this? These are the chapters out of the workbook. Why have I given you chapters 1, 2, and 3? Chapters 1 and 2 is because if you don't get a chance to go to the bookstore on Monday, okay, you obviously have enough time where you can at least get started with chapter 1 and 2 right here. And chapter 3 has not been included in the workbook, so the handout is right here. So I would actually get started tomorrow, Monday morning, with this chapter. If I click here, you can see this is the first chapter in the workbook. But since you may have not had the time to go to the bookstore before Tuesday or Wednesday, you don't fall behind and you can get started. So here's chapter 1 and 2. But you should get everything before Thursday. Okay, that's my suggestion. So let's get started with this. We should not fall behind. Okay, and the only thing I have not shown you is this podcast. These are short movies or short clips, video presentations. The password to get in here is balance, lowercase. Okay, so I click here, BALANCE, different podcasts, and I'll tell you which one to watch after which chapter. So everything is there for you. I wish you all the best. It will be over before you know it. Summer just zooms by. 2 months will pass in no time. Please stay focused and let's get started. I'm here for you, okay? But if you follow my YouTube lectures, I think you will feel a lot more comfortable. During the initial stage of the class, the first 1 or 2 weeks, as you're getting adjusted to it, you may feel a little bit odd, but once you are in it, okay, I have no doubts that you're going to feel very comfortable. Thank you. This is section 1. Okay, these are the PowerPoint presentations if you want to review them. Workbook multiple choice answers. workbook problem solutions. Okay. In the workbook, I've also given you some problems. The solutions for those are right here. Homework solutions that we talked about. Then same procedure for section 2 and the same procedure again for section 3. So you start with the lectures. You can review the PowerPoints if you want to. Do the multiple choice at the back below the chapters in the workbooks. Check the answers here. If there are any problems in the workbook, the solutions to the problems are right here. And then do the homework, okay, which is right over here, and then you can take the quiz. Of course, you'll read the chapters before doing the homework as well. And my experience has been that if students follow that pattern, they do quite well in the class. Okay, thank you, and I look forward to working with you. Remember, D2L, our only place of communication. If you send me an email on a regular email, I will send you a polite reminder that the answer to your question has been answered on D2L. That's the only place that we should communicate. Thanks a lot, and I look forward to working with you over the next 8 weeks.